Bellevue Borough Council meeting. This meeting will come to order. If we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Rankin. Here. Councilman Mello.
There.
Councilwoman Coder. Here. Councilwoman Heffley. Here. Councilman Hovland.
Here.
Councilman Siciliani.
Here.
Councilwoman Viscusi. Here. Councilman Viscusi.
Here.
President Orster.
Here.
Mayor Dorser. Solicitor Rakunas.
Present.
Okay, thank you. Are there any visitors who wish to speak? If you can step up to the podium, state your name and address, and write it on the register. You will have 5 minutes now, and you will have 2 minutes at the end of the meeting. Any visitors who wish to speak? Okay, no visitors. Thank you for coming this evening. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes? Okay, a motion has been made and seconded to approve the minutes for March 12 council meeting, March 26 public safety, March 26 finance, March 26 parks and recreation, and March 26 DPW, and the April 2nd pre-council meeting. Discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye. No nays? And we're going to have an executive session at the end of the meeting to discuss the DAS position and the DPW contract. Do we have a motion to ratify the payment of the bills for March 2012 and April 2013? Motion has been made and seconded to ratify the payment of the bill list for March 2013 and April 2013. Discussion on the motion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Rankin. Aye. Councilman Mello.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coder. Aye. Councilwoman Heffley. Aye. Councilman Hovland.
Aye.
Councilman Siciliani.
Aye.
Councilwoman Viscusi. Aye. Councilman Viscusi.
Aye.
President Orster.
Aye. Reports. The treasurer is not here, and so it will be in your packet. Administration, Whitney, do you have anything? And no reports from administration? Any reports from council? Special, the committee chair reports. Finance, Chair of Finance, Sue Vescusi.
I move to recommend approval of the March 2013 invoice from Civil and Environmental Consultants for CD 37-2.2.5 in the amount of $4,488 for Business District Streetscape Design Project administered by the Quaker Valley Council of Governments.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to recommend approval of the March 2013 invoice for Civil and Environmental Consultants for CD 37-2.2.5 in the amount of $4,488 for Business District Streetscape Design Project administered by the Quaker Valley Council of Governments. Discussion on the motion? Wendy, do you know how much more we have to pay CDC?
I believe that this was no, it's not a final. This is the final for the design, and then the next invoices will be for the bidding and the specifications.
Okay. Any other discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Nays? Roll call, please.
Councilman Mello.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coder.
Aye.
Councilwoman Heffley. Councilman Hovland.
Aye.
Councilman Siciliani. Councilwoman Viscusi.
Aye.
Councilman Viscusi.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Motion carries.
Next one.
Okay, I move to recommend advertising to the Quaker Valley Council of Governments Business District Streetscape Design Project in the April 19th edition of the Citizen for CD 37-2.2.5.
Second.
Okay, a motion has been made second to recommend advertising to the Quaker Valley Council of Governments for the Business District Streetscape Design Project and the April 19th edition of the Citizen for CD 37-2.2.5. Discussion on the motion? Kathy?
Just for clarification, is this for what are we advertising?
For the design. We passed the streetscape, now they have to advertise for the design.
I'm
Is that
not
what it
clear
is?
on what that is.
To ultimately build the project, this is what this motion.
Okay, so the question I have, because I wanted some clarification on this, it's to advertise to show the design, or what exactly you did for the design?
You mean to get prices on to build it?
Construction.
This is a construction estimate. Okay.
Should it say that in the motion? It's the construction of the design?
Should it say, well, it's saying for the design project.
That makes it sound like it's for the design continuation.
Do you want to add construction?
Design construction project.
Okay, so it has been amended. Thank you.
Okay, I don't have any questions. I wasn't here, I was on the phone when we somehow changed what we did at the VDAP. So I am going to vote no for this because I want some answers to the people that voted no. I'd like to hear from all of you. We had a group of citizens, I believe, that came together about the project. We had the VDAP that we spent numerous hours going through painfully every block of Bellevue in the business district. At that point, I was under the impression we had consensus. And then I was shocked to hear, when I was over the phone, that this whole thing was voted down with the bump outs. And I guess the reason I'm bringing this up is not whether I have a personal preference for bump outs or not, but the reason I'm bringing it up, I just want us to think through this because, first of all, we get once in 30 years or 40 years to do something like this. And I know some of you don't like bump outs, and that's why you voted against it, but we heard from our citizens, we're always talking about listening to the constituents, we heard from them. We have a group that recommended this. And I talked to the designer, I talked to the architect. When you look at green infrastructure, and I know, Linda, you were advocating for that in the wet weather plan, and we actually are turning away grant money by not putting more green in this, and we're putting pervious pavement. Now we're paying for ADA ramps with this money that would have gone to green infrastructure. And it's also going to reduce the cost of our wet weather plan. I talked to John Schauberg about this. So I just hope we would consider this and put your personal agendas aside and look for the better. I was out in California and I've been to Texas and to some other towns around here, and it seems like that's the way of the future, these bump outs. And I feel like if we don't do it now, we're going to be catching up in 20 or 30 years and we're going to be long gone. So I just hope, as we thought about this, it was for the betterment of Bellevue and our community versus our personal agendas. Because I was quite shocked on the phone. Obviously, you can't hear me well, and I didn't want to go into this over the phone, but I am going to vote no for this because I feel like we had a good design. Jane, you even agreed on it as well, and I was just shocked that it turned around in that week. So I just wanted to make that point. And I would like to hear, for those of you who did vote no, this isn't adversarial. I just want to know what is behind the vote of no for the bump outs.
Mark?
Well, of course I agree with that because you heard me say all that, but last time I think maybe some of you might have missed the fact that they were reduced to being at the crosswalks, which is a really good thing, and for many good reasons. I mean, and she just named some of them just to refresh you again. The green part of it, the drainage for the wet weather part of it, the grant funding of part of it, the safety of really showing where a crosswalk is for people that now fly right over them. The whole bit, and the fact that you can't use 20 feet on either side of the crosswalk, I think it is, 20 feet on either side. You can't use it for parking anyway. So they really weren't getting in the way. And the thing is, we got one, like she said, I agree, we got one chance to really make this beautiful. And we're just wiping them out. Like we just, you know, without any regard to the fact that there's some of them that have good purpose. So I probably have more to say about it over here. Something else has to say.
Jim?
Yeah, I think everyone knows my biggest concern with the bump outs was snow removal, maintenance, and drainage. I understand the drainage problem has been solved. Maybe we ought to reconsider at least those four that they want to put in 50 intersections where they can't park anyhow. That would be a start for us. And I believe the answers were that did alleviate my concerns.
Jim?
Okay, the reason why I wanted to turn around was I was on the fence on both sides of this, and some council people had a better argument to get rid of the bump outs because of the snow removal, because of what the map is to when Monaca has bump outs, and they can't wait to get rid of their bump outs. That will not work in this small apartment area, and not all the businesses want the bump outs. We got a letter from a lady that, you know, said we really don't need these bump outs. So there was just a few council people there, and the argument was better not to have them placed into this area. So that's how I changed my mind.
Any other comments? Jim?
No, mine was, it's similar to what most of the people were saying about the snow removal and possible damage because, you know, snow removal, plus the size of the roads. It's not like, you know, all your average-sized towns. This is a small town, a lot of traffic, you know, and the buses trying to get around. If they have to, when they pull out, depends on where you're going to put the bus stops. That was never mentioned, you know, as the final position for the signs near the bump outs. They pull over, how are they going to swing back out the traffic? And I don't know if we'll lose any parking if it's near an intersection, but you still have parking near intersections. Yeah, you do. You have the handicap.
No, I believe Brad's here, we can ask him, but from what I understood, we
Yeah, well,
this part.
yeah, we can ask them when I'm finished, you know, on this. And basically, that's it. It's, you know, the size of the road with the traffic. And you have a lot of trucks that are still unloading, which I guess we can't help a lot, you know, unloading for the businesses, the size of them, you know. So even if you have a couple of bump outs, 2 or 3, it's still going to affect the traffic and the buses themselves. So, yeah, I would think so. That's my personal opinion.
Jim?
Yeah, as far as the buses are concerned, the Port Authority will cooperate with just bus stops. Some of these trucks that are parking on Lincoln Avenue, especially on the southern side, there is alleys back, they just don't use them.
And they can do that without using parking spaces if they move their signs around.
I'm talking about the 4 areas on the corners, as opposed to the middle of Lincoln Avenue, the middle of the business district. But Port Authority will cooperate. But I think over a period of time, some of these trucks taking advantage of just parking on Lincoln Avenue instead of going around the back of the road. In some cases, it's necessary to park on Lincoln, but in some cases, it's not.
Okay, any other discussion? Mark?
Jim, you were saying, I have a question, but I have 4 more points after that question. You said because of the damage that could be caused by the bump outs. What do you mean by that?
Snow removal.
But what kind of damage? I'm not sure.
So the bump outs, what are they going to be made of?
The what?
You tell me what are the bump outs going to be made of?
You don't know.
No, you.
Concrete.
Well, then what's your damage?
Concrete to what?
Never mind.
Well, no, I'm asking sincerely.
I just
Okay,
told
well,
you.
could you
I
give
just
me your
told you.
points instead
I
of?
know, if there's damage to something, I'd like us all to know, so I can vote on something.
Okay, well, could you make your other points, please?
Could he finish with something?
I did. That was explained.
So the thing is, you're missing, some of us are missing the fact that this is one shot of doing what beautifies the street, doesn't hurt anything. You said it takes, you don't know that it takes away parking spots, but
That's what I was asking.
well, I know you're asking, but that's been made pretty, I'm not picking on you, I'm just telling you it's been made pretty clear that they're not taking away any parking spots whatsoever, especially if they're only at the crosswalks. We know that this doesn't hurt anything being at those, they limit it to those crosswalk areas. Right now, you gotta admit, that street's drab, and you can fix the sidewalks all you want, but if you don't have green and some nice things on that sidewalk, it's gonna be drab again, unless you stare at the ground. So the thing is, you got a chance to do things that are environmentally, you know, what's the right word? Advantageous to us. Future grants advantageous to us. Beautification to a street that's supposed to be walking a community. I understand it's not hurting the traffic, so I understand there's traffic through our street too, but it's a walking community. You got that and these other reasons that have been listed, that this is a good thing, and there's only 4 of them, I think it's 4, that after all the deletion of everything else, whatever that amount was, and you got, what, one business that doesn't want them? I respect that, but one business, there's 100 out there. So I don't know what I mean, if you want to wait and go ask all the businesses what they want, that's fine with me, but I think that we're really missing a big opportunity to do something really good. So,
Any other
I
discussion?
would like to see us change it.
If you want me to check on the businesses, I can list.
Well,
To see,
You can check.
you know, I'm just saying, you know, if you want.
no, I'm just saying if I've only heard that one business doesn't want them, I don't know that that's a really strong point.
That's why I want to check.
Okay, if you can tie this up, Kathy?
Well, I guess the plea I want to make for all of you is a compromise. I know that's a unique word in Bellevue, but we had a lot of bump ups, and I felt like we came to a very good compromise, and now it's either my way or your way, but isn't there a middle ground here that we could at least have a few bump ups? And I don't, Mark, one thing too, Jim, you were saying about the cost, somebody said about the cost, it would pay for itself with the grant money that we would get with the green infrastructure. And Rich Fitzgerald just had a meeting about the whole sewage and the wet weather plans, and it was all about integrating green infrastructure into your wet weather plan. This is it right here, and we're missing it.
Any other discussion, James?
Yeah,
We can try to.
there was a whole plan. The bump outs were just maybe 10% of the whole plan. So we negotiated a whole plan, and council decided to take out 10%, just bump outs. There's still trees, there's still greenery, you can still do wet weather on the boroughs of the curbs. There's all kinds of ways that you can do this. We did compromise. It was 100% of a deal, and council decided that they were going to have just the bump outs, and that's what they decided.
Okay, Mark.
Well, no offense, but you had a consensus in a big group that thought else otherwise, and you came to a compromise at that point where you allowed a certain amount of them. And then when it came to council, who represents all those people that came to that consensus? Council decided not to represent them and just say no. So you already came to the first compromise, which eliminated a lot, which we were fine with. And then, do either you represent or you don't? I don't.
Okay, any other?
Which one?
Okay, I can tell you why. Of course, I have been very vocal from the very beginning that I did not like the bump outs. I went to 2 or 3 of the walkthroughs. I said I didn't like the bump outs. I mean, I just felt that my opinion was absolutely ignored. Okay, so, but this is not new. My problem, I did talk to other communities. Turning radius, of course, is a problem. Okay, and as for changing bus stops, as a person who has ridden a bus, people don't like the bus stops changed. I didn't like it when my bus stop was changed from the top of my street. So also, I believe the bump outs are narrowing the road, and we're still going to have trees. So there is going to be greenery. We can have trees. We can have bushes. And as for agreeing at that particular meeting, I never agreed. But not all the bump outs that were agreed to were eliminated. Brad said he eliminated all those that he could live with. So it was not all of them that were eliminated. have a group of people on a weekly basis going and maintaining these particular bump outs. And so it's hard enough to get volunteers, and it's either that or we're going to be paying our DPW to do it. And of course, the snow removal and the street cleaning. And that's the reason that I came to my conclusion. And I have never changed my mind on that. But still, there are many things that we can do. And I think the sidewalks and shrubbery and trees are all part of that. And so anyway. Okay, no more discussion? If you could, because you haven't spoken.
Just real quick.
We need to.
I just wanted to make one point. I don't think anybody here has their own personal agenda about the walkouts. And as far as, when we went through the walkthroughs and everything, I think a lot of these things were talked about and discussed. And we also, we talked to other people too. And the consensus I've gotten from the people that I've talked to, not business people, but the people on the street, what I've heard is they don't really want the walkouts. So, we've heard different things from different people about, what their consensus is from the people in Bellevue, and that's what I've heard. So, that's what I'm going to do.
Oh, Jim, and then we got,
Yeah, 10 seconds.
I mean,
I think 10 seconds.
okay, wait, okay, Jim, go ahead.
If it was a safety matter, with bump outs, then there would be something different.
It is a safety.
In what way?
I'll take my word from you.
Okay,
Yeah, I don't know.
It's one of the issues is a safety matter. It thoroughly designates the crosswalks. Thoroughly outlines the crosswalk by being a stopping point before that crosswalk, a slow down point before that crosswalk. But anyway, having said that, I'd like to make a motion to amend this motion for this design to include some bump outs. Upon further review this.
Second.
We're still on the main motion. We have to vote on.
That motion was made and seconded, so you have to vote this motion down and then make a new motion. So we were on discussion already.
Yes, we did. Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Nays?
Nay.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman McDonald.
Nay.
Councilwoman Hathaway. Councilman Conway.
Nay.
Councilman Siciliani.
Nay.
Councilwoman Ruscuzzi. Councilman Ruscuzzi. Councilwoman Ronley. Councilman Camella.
Nay.
President Marshall.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next motion.
I move to recommend the advertising to the Quaker Valley Council of Governments for Business District Streetscape Construction Design Project.
We did that already. Oh. Yeah, so we're on the third one.
Move to approve the labor contract between the Borough of Bellevue and the Teamsters Local Number 249 to be retroactively effective January 1st, 2010, and expire December 31st, 2014.
Okay, do we want to discuss this contract in executive session? I thought we were going to do that. Do you want to discuss it or do you want to vote on it? Did you want to review? Or
Is there any changes from last week's
No.
executive
There's
session?
been no changes to the contract.
Okay.
So, if you're comfortable voting on it, you can vote on it.
Okay. And motion has been made and seconded to approve the labor contract between the Borough of Bellevue and the Teamsters Local Number 249 to be retroactively effective January 10, 2010, and to expire December 31st, 2014. Discussion on the motion?
Were we given the changes in writing somewhere and I missed it?
We've given a copy at the last executive session.
Okay, I didn't see it anywhere.
Any other?
the executive session?
Yeah.
I wasn't here.
Oh, I was here, so, but they were giving everybody the last executive session.
So if you weren't here, how would you get a copy of that?
Email it to you, yeah.
Okay, thank
Who
you.
else, if anybody else want to have it? And do you need a copy?
I do not, thank you.
Okay, any other discussion on the motion? All those in favor, say aye. Nays? Nay. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Hathaway.
Aye.
Councilman Holloway.
Aye.
Councilman Sissy Jones. Councilwoman Viscusi.
Aye.
Councilman Viscusi.
Aye.
Councilwoman Robin. Councilman Canala.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coder.
I'm going to abstain because I haven't seen the changes.
You can't abstain, you only can abstain for.
He said
She hasn't seen it.
Okay,
She hasn't seen it. She hasn't seen it.
President Washington.
Nay.
Motion carries.
Okay, any other questions for our Chair of Finance? Mark?
I'm just gonna try one more time for a compromise here. I'm just gonna make a motion to amend the streetscape design to allow up to 4 bump outs.
Second?
Okay, a motion has been made and seconded to amend the motion to change streetscape to allow for bump outs,
Up to 4 bump.
up to 4 bump outs. Discussion on the motion? You know, there's no design in front of us to say where the bump outs are going to be, how the drainage is going to be taken care of, and it hasn't changed my mind, and who is going to maintain the bump outs, and have you check to see what the turning radius will be to make sure that trucks can actually turn. I mean, there's just so much that has not been rectified with those bump outs, so. Okay, no other discussion? Mark?
Well, can we ask if there is an answer? Can I ask Brad if there's an answer to your question?
You can ask them. Sure.
Okay. Can you answer this question?
Yeah, I can answer it for you. As far as the turning radiuses, yes, that has been addressed. We have a software program called AutoTurn that we run trucks on there to make sure that they're not affected. So that has been done, fire trucks and such. The bus, I'm just going to go through some of the questions I heard. Bus stops, moving them, the idea was to actually move them into where a bump out would be, to centralize trash cans, benches, which everyone wanted, which we don't have room for, kiosks, let people know what's going on in the community. All these different things would be centralized in that 20-foot setback, which state law does not allow you to park within 20 foot of a crosswalk at an intersection. So, which obviously we're not abiding by that now. So in this design, we're just going to strike it off anyway, so you're not going to park there. And that is there for safety reasons for people, pedestrians walking across. Striping is one thing, everyone drives around striping, but if I'm standing there in this striping zone and I'm trying to cross the street, that's how people get clipped, or I see it all the time. I do it personally with now. We have no designation whatsoever of sidewalks or anything. I do it myself. I think I'm pretty good with watching for that, but it's really hard to see someone when you have black asphalt with 2 white lines and someone sitting out on the edge. The idea is to bring them closer to the traffic way so that both cars and the pedestrian have better visual of each other. So, and also by moving some of these bus stops to these bump outs, we actually gain parking spaces, because when you have that bus stop, it's kind of open where there's not parking. The issue with narrowing the road, that's not the case. We're going 6 feet, cars are typically 7 feet, so I guess we should get rid of all the car parking, because that's narrowing the street as well. And also, going to that, so maintenance, you might have a little bit of maintenance, but once you get these things planted out, they're fairly low maintenance. And if it's all hardscape, if it's all pervious pavers, it's a sidewalk anyway. So green doesn't mean just a bunch of plants. Green can be pervious, it could be whatever use you want to make out of it. Go down to safety, we kind of addressed that. Grant funding is huge. When you have green infrastructure, this could be hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars over the life of this. You have the county, which may give you $100,000 a year. this is a $2-3 million project to go the whole length. You're not going to do that with county money. So you combine DEP, PennDOT funding, whatever you can get together. So by taking these bump outs out, yeah, it's a little portion of it, but it could be 50% of the funding. That being said, personally, I worked on a couple of projects in the last 12 months, and this group has gotten from the DEP between design funding and actually construction drawings, or construction design, or installation money, about $750,000 in 1 year. So, not saying that we can get all that, it takes effort to do it, but that money's out there for people like us to take it. Like Kathy said, we'd be one of the first ones out there doing this. So whenever the whole consent decree comes out in infrastructure, we'd be ahead of this. People want to fund that. And then, that's kind of the basics. I mean, I can go on and on about this, but, maintenance is not, is it going to cost you $5,000 a year for maintenance and you're giving up a couple $100,000 in funding? So, it's one of those things, it's what do you want to do? So, again, I'm open to talk about this later after the meeting, but...
I have a question for you. What do you mean move the bus stops to where the bump outs are? The
So,
bump outs are already coming out 7 foot. So
the bump out is the loading area. Okay, that's what I wanted to mention. And the narrowing the street. So I guess the perception is that a 50-foot bus is going to pull over in a 20-foot section and somehow totally get off the street. And I've yet to see a bus actually totally pull off to the side in anywhere. What they do is they kind of angle over the side, and then they get back in. There's no going around them unless you cross the yellow line. So, yes, there would be a bump out. The bus would come up to the bump out. People would get on, and they would keep going. So, yes, you would not.
Do you realize what would happen when you make a left on Lincoln Avenue from North Bellevue, and when that bus stops in front of Pizza Hut, how that would back up the traffic?
It does it right now. The bus doesn't even
People go, excuse me, it's not here. People go right around it, including me. Otherwise, it would be a big battle.
And you don't cross the yellow line.
I don't believe that I do.
No, you don't, because it goes like that.
Well, and like I said before, when you're dealing with traffic issues, the issue is the traffic signals. We have a button that you push the button, and it doesn't register. And this is the whole, every traffic light. They don't work. They're antiquated. You just have to get new ones. And that's the other thing is the traffic the bump outs are not a traffic problem. The problem is that these things are not working together, not working efficiently. So you have to look past that, look to the future, and find out what the real problem is and solve the problem. The problem is not bump outs. The problem is not buses. The problem is not those issues. It's when they work together. Carnegie Mellon's done studies. All these people have done studies. You speed the process up. So that's the issue. You address that issue, and the problem is solved.
Okay, thank you. Concrete bump outs to me are, I mean, you need to go to communities who have bump outs like I did and get a clear view of what they do look like. And, and then cars don't park near an intersection, and that's where the bump outs, when we went through the walkthrough, they were right near the intersection, and cars aren't right up against the intersection where the bump outs that we talked about would be. And I don't know where these 4 would be anyway, but Mark?
Well, one thing to say, the entire section, the whole of Lincoln Avenue, the bus cannot pull over. If it gets that little opportunity by Pizza Hut to pull over halfway, I see it too, because it blocks the road. I can't go around, but we won't argue that point. Let's just say that everywhere else, they can't pull over. There's cars parked. So the bus always stops everybody, always, except for that, if it's even possible in front of Pizza Hut. So the idea in our heads, some heads, that it's going to stop them because there's a bump out isn't correct. It's going to stop them because it always stops them. Okay? It can't pull into those parallel spots to get where there's cars unless it's not going off into the sidewalk. So it always does that. So really, that's an issue that's being made too much of. It's not accurate. Another one, you keep hearing that you're going to lose funding opportunity. That's huge. Huge. These are things that the state and the county want us to do, and they're beautiful to begin with. Think harder.
And that's why Monaco wants to get rid of their bump
I don't
outs.
know about Monaco, I don't know hang out.
You know what, I'm sorry, I was there. Jane?
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. I mean, Brad, the point that it wasn't actually just the bump outs is our problem. Apparently, our entire problem is the traffic signals. So apparently, that's what we should be working on very first, is the traffic signals. I don't know how putting 4 bump outs is going to solve all these traffic problems now. But he said about the traffic signals, we absolutely do need to work on that. The chief almost got hit in front of Coons. And then the bump out wouldn't say it because the traffic signals were off. So I'm sticking with the residents didn't want them, some of the business residents want them. Well, several people from this group isn't the entire borough.
What the feedback? Come on, Dave, you know what, come on, Dave. Come on, please. Okay, go ahead.
No,
Okay, Jim?
We've been discussing this over and over again.
I know.
Point of order, but let's go.
Okay, any more discussion?
I just have a question. I just want to clarify. Connie, when you spoke last month on this issue, right? And you were speaking for BNAC, it was one of the meetings when you spoke about this plan representing BNAC. You remember that? Okay, and I'm just clarifying, you said BNAC was in favor of it?
BDAC recommended a reduced number of bump outs, not all of the bump outs that were originally in the plan, and I believe most specifically we took out the bump out in front of at the northbound because of the congestion in the bus stop. We were primarily focused on bump outs at this major intersection down here at Lincoln and Folly, and also across from the elementary school. The safety provisions there would be remarkable.
So the plan from streetscape with 4 or less bump outs is the one that BDAC approved as well?
I don't recall exactly how many, Brad, do you recall exactly how many were left?
I mean, that was basically the consensus.
There was more than 4, but they were basically anywhere where there's a crosswalk in an intersection where you can't park anyways, there was bump outs and pretty much those locations.
Exactly. So you would be going Holly Avenue, Spray, and Jackson. We limited them at the big intersections like Bellevue and Star, and at Meade Avenue. There was no way a fire truck was going to get around the bump out and down Meade Avenue. So we took them out of all of those places. And we really left them where they were going to be, the beauty is part of it, but we have such a horrible problem here with crosswalks. And to get an area where you can't park anyhow. Right now, our parking there is illegal. That has to be removed. You're losing those parking spaces. To get a space that would immediately catch a driver's eye and also would give the pedestrians not peering around a parked car. We've had way too many accidents of people getting hit in crosswalks, and I think this could be a major factor. Plus, the green infrastructure is just critical.
I just wanted to clarify.
I'd like to know how many people were getting crosswalks.
When we was asked to vote on this, there was about 1.5 dozen,
Exactly.
bump outs still in there. That's why we took the vote without the bump outs.
Oh, yes, there were.
Yeah,
I don't remember what I'm talking about.
It wasn't redrawn, but in the BDAC meeting, we removed all but about 6 of them.
No.
Okay, but now you're saying
Yes.
you removed all except for 4.
No.
Okay, so I want to know, before we go through this vote, exactly where the 4 will be. Exactly. Right. Where exactly will the 4
There's more than 4. What happened was...
See, that's what I mean.
Thanks.
Let me explain this. Can I please explain this?
But we don't know where the 4 are going to be.
Can I have 4 votes?
Let's decide where the 4 are going to be.
Yeah.
I think they should be
I don't have my plans.
They should be in, the town, they should be at Holly Avenue, and it should be in the elementary school. One on each side.
That's what the vote's going to be. I mean, because you're saying 4 now. Oh, well, let's vote on these bump outs now. And then you go, well, there's going to be more more than 4.
Okay, but who's going to
I
maintain?
don't know exactly where it's for,
There needs to be
that's
time.
what we voted
But the
on.
motion is for 4. So
Exactly.
there can't be more if the motion calls for.
But who's going to maintain them? I mean, Monaco, they have a group of senior citizens that go around and, and then to have concrete bump outs, oh my gosh, that would be absolutely horrible. But they have people that go around every, I think it's Thursday, and they go to clean up cigarette butts and clean it up. I mean, so, you know. Okay, Mayor?
Well, I don't know that maintenance will be a big issue. We already have the DPW running the building together on the avenue on a semi-regular basis, and we have them doing other maintenance down there with the street sweeper and other things. So they're already in there emptying the garbage cans. So I don't see what's going to be that big of a deal.
Mark?
You know, when we hear about this maintenance, he made a good point, Brad, that the grants is far outweigh the maintenance issue. And second, are we going to cut a good thing that we can maintain a little bit? I wouldn't do that. And I want to go back, I have to know where are these other, I said 4, but where were they supposed to be, Brad?
I think there's a couple of things here. One, if you go back, the streetscape committee had a plan, and we've kind of went through this, and we eliminated a number of them one time or another. It went to, no, this is, I'm explaining the bump outs and where they're located, okay? So then that plan went to the BDAC group, and we further took more out, okay? Where they were, I can't tell you exactly where they are. I didn't bring a plan with me, and I don't know exactly what number they are, and if there's going to be 4. I guarantee you there's more than 4 over the whole thing. But that doesn't really matter right now anyways. What really is, we're putting a drawing out the bid that doesn't have anything. So that first area that we're dealing with, that's the most important, and that's going from North Star to where the Rent-A-Center is right now. So that's the core area we're doing right now. So that's the most important thing. Is there a couple bump outs there? I don't know. But I mean, what it comes down to is the streetscape committee decided what they wanted. It further went through the BDAC group. They decided to eliminate more, and then that's what was presented. And the problem is, that's what the community wants. It was citizens, it was business owners, it was a number of those. And then it just looks bad on county funding because we voted against both of our groups that they set up for. But anyways, when you talk about Monaco, and okay, I don't know who the designer was, but those are pretty not good. Okay, it's a concrete, from what I remember, it's a concrete mound that kind of goes down, which I don't even know how, I mean, what's the maintenance? You know, cigarette butts?
It's not a concrete mound. It has turning and it has dirt.
And it's mounded up like this, which is totally not what we're doing anyways. But the other side of that is we have cigarette butts and stuff. Ask Danina, the time she's on the sidewalk. So, I mean, we're not going to, I mean, we have a sidewalk. There's maintenance to everything. Nothing is maintenance free, no matter what you do. So it's do you want it? What's the benefit is if this spurs economic development, who cares if you're cleaning up cigarette butts?
Thank you. Okay, go ahead,
The
Jen.
$705,000 is a number that's just out there somewhere. I mean, he can't guarantee us that money at all. You know, and it's a tree revitalization. We're supposed to get free trees from the avenue. He was supposed to talk to those. So, you know, the number for that number is just out there. And like I said, now they're just already changed. And this is one of the reasons why this council decided they weren't going to go for the bump outs period. Because once you vote on something that says it's got this in it, and they'll just come back and say, well, you voted for it. There's 100 bump outs, you voted for it. That's why we did it the way we did it. The majority of council did it that way. Now, the motion's on the floor for 4 bump outs. 4 bump outs. That's the motion for 4 bump outs. Nothing else. Nowhere else. I want to name those streets. Where you put them on. So when that vote comes down, everybody says, oh, wait, you put a bump out down here? No, we didn't vote on it.
I see. Okay.
I heard a chain. I want to know exactly where they're going to be. We're going to have 4 of them. Okay? But I want to know where they're at. And I want them to be at the school. 2 of them at the school.
I'm talking about in this design that's going on right now, for the first section. So, 1, 2. I consider bump out one across from the other as one. If it's two. But I don't know what to suggest to you, except what this. No, I'm not saying that. Forget that. What I'm saying to you is, you got time to redesign the rest of the street, what you want on it. We're not doing that section of the street. So, how can I say this? Simple.
So you want 4 bump outs in this very first section we're doing from Coos to...
I said up to 4 bump outs. If you want to go through an approval process after this and go sit down and find out where you want them to be, or I don't have to be that claim. So if you want, if somebody wants to speak up to where that is, but did you not just say Holly Avenue, correct?
Correct. Jackson.
That's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Jackson Store, across from
No, nothing at Star. That's all off-street.
Right.
It's private property. In the area of the rent-a-center, yeah, that's the Jackson crosswalk. That one, and Holly, but I think one really needs to go in front of the elementary school, so I think there should be.
Well, that's more than 4.
That's 6.
If I need to amend
So
the
now it's
motion,
6.
I'll amend the motion then to 6, meaning those 3 places. Now, that really overwhelms everybody. I'm surprised because it's only 6 bump outs on a big stretch of street, and also the fact you just heard all these good points about why these are really important and effectively a good thing for this town.
Okay, hey, Mark, when you're talking about the one on Jackson, is it going down South Jackson like it was?
No.
Because, well, Connie's not the designer. I mean, Bradley should have exactly all of these.
We discussed that. No, it's not taking up that South Jackson because that was a turn radius issue.
Yeah,
As a matter of fact, the bump out would be on, I believe, the other side in front of the medical building and the parking lot area.
Okay, and I don't know how you can do it without anything. And let me tell you this, because I don't have my information here, but the software, one of the communities I talked to said, you know what, be careful of the software. Actually get a truck out and actually have them turn, to make sure that they can make that radius, at the bump out. I think there are so many questions here. Okay, and we've probably been talking about this for half an hour. Sue, can we kind of like...
It's the whole future of the front of the street, so I think we have
I'm
our...
not going to vote on anything. I want the final plans in front of me.
I know.
I want to know exactly where these things are going to be at.
And what the size are.
What side, what street, I want all that information. I'm not going to vote. I'm just going to vote on it.
Okay, just a question, Brad, this first part is only for that small section. Are there bump outs in that section that we could approve the design to advertise to the citizen right now and come back to this?
Right now, they're stripes, and I had to change the design. I mean, I don't have time or money to redesign things in my budget currently. So right now, they're basically designed as everything that was a bump out is striped because it needs to be there for turning radiuses and for requirements. So basically, the plan that will go in to be bid on will not include any bump outs. They'll all be striped, and the idea was to take advantage of the bump outs for the ADA ramp. So you're not really building a ramp; you're just building basically a sidewalk going through, which is cheaper. But as of now, we are pretty much just it'll just be a striped area with handicap ramps as they currently are.
Do we have time with our grant to go back and do this, or is there a deadline?
Yeah, there is a deadline.
Yeah.
I spoke last week to that, not to interrupt you, Brad, but there is a deadline for this because it's county funded. It needs to be advertised next Friday.
Yeah, there's...
We just put in those handicap ramps. You gotta keep in mind that too. We just got that ramp, put all those yellow ones in. We just did that, 2 years ago. So now we're gonna take them out and make a different style of ramp on this corner. And
Mark?
He had to
So
do
each section
that. He had to do that because you guys wiped out the entire bump out system. So he had to go back and do what he did because he said no. And you guys admitted that you didn't know that he took a whole bunch of bump outs, I don't know who, that you didn't realize you were voting on just a few bump outs back then, so you took them all out.
No, we knew exactly them.
You did? Okay.
It was all three, there were lots of
Okay,
people.
but wait, my original question is, if we amend this right now, is it gonna make a difference? That's what I'm asking, Brad.
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely locations that you could put bump outs in the first phase.
And there'll be time to get it into the plan and design and all that. That's what I'm asking. I know it's tight.
Potentially. I mean, what we have to do is we would have to go talk to the COG and talk to the county, and if it's something that everyone is interested in doing, then, you know, as long as there's a plan that, okay, we're gonna do this, we're gonna turn this design around, and we're gonna get it out of bid quickly. Typically, it's for a good reason, so the county, as long as you go through them, they're typically okay with that. So there is some potential wiggle room there. However, you know, we do need to get this thing out and bid and construct it.
Thank you.
Jane?
So the first phase is going to be from Coons to Pizza Levante. And there's going to be 4 bump outs right in front of Pizza Levante. That corner, right?
Yeah,
No, where's the bump outs?
should,
So there's going to be 2.
what on the side, exactly.
One on the side of, and then
I thought we were talking 4. Now it's, and then it was 6, now it's
First phase is 2.
So could we just approve 2 for the first phase?
We didn't do the second phase.
Does that work?
Well, that's what I'm asking. Does that
Perhaps.
help? No. We can move on from there?
I could design or deal with whatever you tell me.
I want to know who's going to maintain them and what's going to be, I don't want no concrete bump outs, and I don't want the buses to be in front of the bump outs. I see that as very unsafe. I think there's a lot of unanswered questions. We don't even know what the size of the bump outs are going to be. We don't have a design in front of us. And I didn't know we were going to discuss this.
Can we make a motion to table this until we have the discussion? Well, we already,
No, we have to
did we vote
advertise.
for it to be advertised already?
By next week.
Right, and then you said that's the part that needs to go in, but we still have wiggle room, as Brad said, to come back together and hash this out.
But it's advertising the wrong design. I think that would be a problem, correct? Because we already approved one design, now there's a motion to amend that design.
This should have been done a long time ago.
Well, the plan was done and you wiped it out at the last second, so I don't know.
That was a month ago.
But still, we're trying.
Mark, are you open to withdraw your motion and make a new motion to approve 2 bump outs?
For the first phase.
For the first phase.
Does that fit what we got? Yes, absolutely.
Is that okay if he withdraws his motion?
Okay, but I want to know where they're going to be, what size they're going to be, because I don't want it in front of Coons to where you're going to be.
Just on Jackson. Just on the 2 on Jackson.
And what are the sizes and what are they going to,
There's four corners on
Right, you
there.
had sizes before, you just throw out
What's
there.
that?
They're 6 feet out from the curb. Typical car is, the car spaces are designed, you know, 7, 8 feet out. Typical parallel parking space is 8 by 20 or 22. So basically, we're not going out as far as the cars are. So it goes 6 feet out, and it depends on, you know, the area it is. I would say if it's by a crosswalk, it's probably about 20 feet in length, which is basically the area that you can't park.
Okay, when you're saying 2, you're actually saying 4. You're doing all 4 corners, aren't you?
I wasn't.
It all depends on, I mean, if you look at this plan,
What plan?
Well, that's what we have to decide, right? We
they
can't
do
do
have
what
this
is
as a
it?
sketch.
and you know what, I mean, you're talking about it being 6 feet off from the curb, but cars aren't parked near the curb. Cars have to be parked, what, 20 foot, 15 foot from the curb. These are up against the curb. Cars have to park 70 feet from the curb. You can't, they don't park right up there. I mean, from the road curb, from there.
The intersection.
From the intersection.
Yes, but right now they're parking.
But he's saying that this is only going to go 6 foot out, whereas cars are, what, 8 or 9 foot out. And that doesn't apply here because there aren't cars in that intersection.
Yes, well, in a lot of them there are. But what we need to do is decide whether we want the thing in front of Pizza Belmonte or do we want it in front of the medical building.
No, they have it here in front of Pizza Belmonte, and there's four, there's a crosswalk here.
Okay.
And it actually looks like it's going right into a driveway. Is that mine?
There's a driveway next to the house, but we're compromising on this. We've got it down to 2 bump outs, one on each side of the street. Now decide if you want it in front of Pizza Belmonte or you want it in front of the Suburban General Building.
You know what, I can't see anything, I didn't bring my plans.
Here, do you want to see this?
No, I've seen it a million times. I see it get on the screen.
You know, this should have been discussed a month ago.
But we're not talking about that. We're talking about right now at this moment deciding to put in 2 bump outs, just one on each side of the street. Not 2 pairs, 2 total.
But you know that they're going to have to, they're going not, the one is going all the way in front of the rent center.
They're going where there's a no parking, what should be a no parking area already. Cars aren't allowed to.
So this whole corner is going to be free.
If you put them on that side of Jackson, if you don't, if you move them across in front of the medical center, the Suburban General Building, and the borough's own parking lot there, then you can do that too.
Let's go all the way down.
I mean, this should have been done a month ago. I mean, this is all last minute to put pressure, and then we don't know what it is. You know what it is. You know what, you don't have the floor, Connie. Jim?
You can't put it in front of the medical building because you have emergency vehicles pulling in and out of there.
There's a loading zone shed.
Wheelchair vans can pull behind there, but they get calls for ambulance service.
And access is always good too.
Yeah, access.
You know, this isn't how you plan stuff. You don't plan stuff by just throwing it out. Nobody has plans in front of you. We've been talking about this for a while. This was all done a month ago, and now you're bringing it up when we're up against it, that we have to vote on this to get it advertised because things have taken so long. So, I mean, this is not how you plan a community. This is not how you make long-term plans, just throwing things out.
Well, first of all, we're not throwing things out. We've been discussing this at all the meetings. And I just would like to ask Brad, who's the expert, and Connie, who worked on this relentlessly, to ask your opinion where the bump out should go. If we decide on 2, where should they go between the 2 of you? And this isn't like we're just deciding tonight.
Yes, it is. Where were you a month ago? Where were you a month ago when we voted on this?
I was on the phone and I voted no. That's where I was, in Texas.
I do think that Mr. Siciliani made an excellent point about the ambulance calls to the medical building, and given that fact, I would put it in front of Pizza Belmonte and the Rec Center.
All right, I move to amend the streetscape plan to include 2 bump outs for phase 1, with the bump out to be in front of Pizza Belmonte.
Yeah, that's his motion. He can amend the motion.
Thank
He's already a motion.
Yeah, we have one.
So he can amend it.
Okay, so I move to amend exactly what you did.
It's already been seconded.
Okay, so now, discussion on the motion.
I'm sorry, I have to say one thing. Thank you. But I have to say, you keep saying we're devising a plan now. The plan is done and it got thrown out. We're going back to part of the plan. That's what you mean.
Then I have nothing in front of me. We're just throwing these things out. I can't even see where you're talking about it. We discussed this a month ago. And then now, we had last week. Where were you last week? Now, we're up against it, and there's no other choice. I think this is a terrible way to plan. Okay, any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Okay, what you're saying aye. You are voting for the 2 bump outs between the intersection of Star and, what's the intersection where the piece of Vermont is? North Jackson. Okay, so that's what you're voting for, okay? All those in favor say aye. Nays?
Nay.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Hoagland.
Aye.
Councilman Siciliani. Councilwoman Viscusi.
No.
Councilman Viscusi. I'm sorry, to repeat that? Councilwoman Bronlin.
Nay.
Councilman Canala. Councilwoman Coder.
Aye.
Councilwoman Heffley. President Forster.
Nay.
Motion carries.
I think it's a sad way to have plans. Okay, any other discussions for finance? Okay, thank you, Sue, appreciate that. Okay, Parks and Recreation Chair, Joseph Ian.
Motion, I'm going to have a question on motion for, I'm going to step out for 2 minutes, all right? The other question is, we have our executive session after the Parks and Recs motions?
It's scheduled for
I'm going to have
after the public contribution. Can you like rest up and come back? Because it's going to be a while, so I don't want people sitting here waiting if they don't have to.
I'll go to motion 4. I don't know, Frank, of you and Kathy, do you have any knowledge of Carnegie Mellon University using Galot Field for 2 days?
No.
It's not showing in our minutes from Parks and Rec.
And it said memorial on this, in my packet. On my desk it says a lot, but in the packet it says memorial.
Which one is the
I've
final?
known they use fields and baskets.
The current ideology is the one with the ball.
Yeah, they're having Galot Field is the title of it. It's the only question I have.
Oh, I thought that they were on the memorial.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the next memorial?
Yeah.
Okay, the memorial's right. Jay, can you,
Yeah, I recommend that the bid proposal from John Stevens and Son Roofing for an amount not to exceed $46,178 for the whole bathhouse, paid out of line item 452252. That line item here doesn't exist, so I looked it up.
Second.
okay, motion has been made and seconded to accept the bid proposal for John Stevens and Son Roofing in the amount not to exceed $46,178 for the pool bath house roof replacement to be paid from budget line item 452.252. Discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye. Nays? Nay. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Viscusi. Councilman Viscusi. Councilman Bronlin. Councilman Canala. Councilwoman Coder. Councilwoman Heffley. Councilman Hoagland. President Forster.
Nay.
Motion carries.
Jane, can you do the second?
Yeah, I move to approve the purchase of 7 filter boards for the pool not to cost, that cost of $650 each, not to exceed $4,550, paid for line item also 452252.
Okay, a motion has been made and seconded to approve the package of 7 filter boards for the pool at a cost of $650 each, not to exceed $4,550 to be paid from budget line 452.252. Discussion on the motion. Is there enough money in that line item?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
So far.
No discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Roll call, please.
Councilman Viscusi. Councilwoman Bronlin. Councilman Canala. Councilwoman Coder. Councilwoman Heffley. Councilman Hoagland. Councilwoman Viscusi. President Forster.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, the second motion, the third motion, it's for fencing. I didn't read it in the minutes, so I don't know if they've got any competitive fence. Where are we putting it? Is this the batting cage?
Yeah, we're batting.
It's the batting cage?
Well, we're batting cage, there's a cement block there, it's a safety issue.
But it just says fence.
Yeah, it's just to protect it from that cement area down across there.
Okay. Now, I'd like to make a motion to purchase Alligator Fence Company in the amount of $3,820. We say call, line item 451249.
Second.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded to approve the purchase of Elegant Fence Construction Company in an amount not to exceed $3,820 for the Shade Cog Joint Purchasing Program to be paid from budget item 451249. Discussion on the motion? Mayor?
Is there a cost associated with redoing the batting cages?
That's bad as the high school, yeah.
Yeah, what happened was the batting cages were originally put up by BABA.
Right. So that was Baba's deal when it caved in, and there was talk about the school and Baba and Borough agreeing to fix it, but I don't know what happened, but I think it fell through.
The funding fell through, yeah,
Right.
they don't want to, all three could not come to a consensus.
Right.
So I guess my question is, instead of putting a line of fence down there for $3,800, and still having a cement pad sitting there, what would it cost just to put the batting cage back in and have it useful versus just having a fence in front of a cement pad? I don't know.
How much it's gonna cost?
Oh, I don't know. If it's $5,000, you know, it's $1,200 more and it's functional.
That's a good point.
I don't know. I mean, might be something to look at.
Okay.
Does the Park and Rec Committee want me to take this off and then just check
Yeah,
out the batting cages?
I think we need to look back into that.
I will withdraw my motion.
And when you finally get a price, maybe we could reapproach the school district and BABA, in case the funding changed, it may not.
That's a good point. That is. I should have thought of it.
Okay, and, so I withdrew my motion, so there's nothing.
Okay, motion withdrawn. Next motion.
The Connie Rankin use the Memorial Park Field.
I got a question about it. This has been.
Okay, well, wait a minute. Why don't we make the motion, have a second, and then discuss it? Okay, we need a motion.
I can make a motion to have Connie Rankin University use Memorial Park Field. On April 13th and 20th.
Second. Okay, motion has been made, seconded to approve the usage of the ballpark at Memorial Park for Carnegie Mellon University students on April 13, 2013 and April 28, 2013. Discussion on the motion.
Well, this has been a problem in the past. I don't have a problem with using the field, but the one time it affected the high school, we went out to practice, we couldn't practice, we were on the field. And I know the 13th, our high school team's been practicing on Saturday. In the past, we haven't practiced on Saturday. But we've been practicing, and that could affect the high school kids, which is what the field's for. And the 28th on Sunday, the high school don't play, but I know there's a wooden bat league team. I know they use the field on Sunday, so I think that needs to be looked at before we approve this.
I included the calendar of the scheduled events for ball fields. The administrative office puts this together, and it didn't seem so far that there was a conflict with BABA or the high school in terms of field usage. So
Well, we're playing a game on that 13th, but they've been practicing. And so is there a time for the CMU?
It says 11 to 5.
11 to 5.
And that's what time they practiced the last 2 days, 11 o'clock. So
Can
I don't think it should interfere with the kids. That's what the field's there for. And I don't know why they don't have their own field.
Can I just say, Frank, on the calendar, the next Saturday, it says Northgate practice 10 to 3. And I wonder if they could just practice maybe a little earlier.
I'm just saying, I mean, it's not the game.
Early.
Yeah, I understand.
And usually they practice from 11 to 1 or 2.
Why isn't it on our calendar, though?
I'm sorry.
The calendar for the practices. Shouldn't they be reserving it ahead of time? Yeah.
They have reserved everything.
Okay, so he's saying that on the 13th they practice.
That's not scheduled for April.
See, they might have gone, I mean, the old coach never practiced on Saturday, but there's a new coach, so the last 2 Saturdays they practiced. So I don't know.
See, they have to reserve those, so we don't know. And this is for the April 13th, and today is, what, the 9th? Today's the 9th. So we can't really,
They don't,
I
it's
don't
gonna
know.
be a problem. I mean, we should have the field first.
I know, but if they don't have it on the schedule.
I've ran into this problem before. Our kids go up to practice on the field, and our kids should have that field first.
But I know, Frank, but if they have to schedule it with the borough, if they don't schedule it with the borough, we're saying to someone else, well, you know, you can use
Why
it.
have to schedule it? We made an approval with the Parks and Rec, the high school had the field Monday through Saturday. I swear we did that when we approved the field.
But it's not on the calendar.
Whatever. I made my phone.
I mean,
They have their own field. That's $1 million. I mean, how much money does CMU have? Why don't they have a field? Why are they using our field? I mean, I've been asking this question for years.
this is the 9th, and this is the
I know the money they got
13th.
on practice up there last Saturday too, from 3 to whatever.
Or maybe the school can reschedule around or something.
Well, just to see if there's a conflict, we can't use it, but if I'll call, and if there is a conflict, then we can use it, if there is, they can't.
See, they do this every year, though.
Well, do you notice they're also on the 14th? Do we need to have that? It says the 13th, 14th, or 28th. CMU's on the schedule, so.
So I'll call and confirm with Northgate tomorrow that there is an event on those 3 dates. And if there is practice with Northgate, see if they can't use it.
That to give them a couple of day notice, that's not really
Right,
right.
well, they haven't been given approval yet either. Does that make sense? They haven't been given any notice until this meeting first night.
I believe the school should be making us aware of when they're going to use it, and it should be on our schedule.
This is the schedule that was put together based on what data and the school have provided us.
Maybe they can like work it out that they can both use it and just work with each other for a time, because we're only talking on the 13th that there's a conflict.
You want me to call it official?
Work out the compromise. Okay, so what do we want to do with the motion? Do we want to go through with it and work it out between the two entities? Any other, Mark?
Yeah, so just to clarify, you're saying we're going to make a motion pending, they can use it pending, there's no conflict. They're going to call and find out if Northgate wants it, or if it's going to conflict. If it conflicts, you're saying we won't let Carnegie Mellon use it, but if Northgate says fine.
Yeah, we're not using the field on the problem.
Okay, so they're going to do that, that's what this motion is, they're going to do that, we're going to do that first, to make sure. So pending no conflict, we'll give CMU the use of the field. So one more question, does CMU ever donate anything or give us anything?
I can look into that.
Just curious.
If they pay a fee.
Okay. Thank you.
James, do you have anything to say?
No, I believe they do, and they have been scheduling this for years there. We have, April, May, June, July scheduled there. There's only 3 days, not even conflict, because they should have took those days. And we have April, May, June, and July.
Well, the baseball season only goes April through the first week of May. The high school season. And the battle season goes.
Yeah, but they're quarter meetings and stuff.
Northgate Valley has the whole calendar filled up from April to July.
So it's a good compliment.
Well, maybe they can work it out that they can both, compromise a little bit. Okay. Yeah, we do. Okay. Any other discussion?
So the motion is pending no conflict.
Well, I'm hoping that they can work it out.
If there's no conflict,
It's still 7 days. As far as I'm concerned, they should have a field. I don't know why we got to give up the field. Just so they know, we should have the field. And that's it. I mean,
Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Nays?
Nay.
I'm really being redundant, but just, if there's any conflict with Northgate wants to use it, Northgate gets it, right? Okay.
Okay, any other questions for Parks and Recreation? Okay, and there are no reports for public safety. Chair Jane, are there any questions or comments for Public Safety Committee? Okay, and then the other committee is Public Works. And Chair is Jim Viscusi. Any other questions or comments for Public Works? Okay. Any special committee reports? Okay, ordinances, the first ordinance. Do we have a motion to take to the table?
I'd like to take to the table second reading for discussion of ordinance which shall establish regulations and restrictions for pawn shops and hand shops.
Second.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded to take from the table for the second reading and discussion of ordinance which shall establish regulations or restrictions on pawn shops or second-hand shop and provide fines and penalties for violations thereof. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Nays? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Rivera.
No discussion.
Councilwoman Huffley. Aye. Councilman Holloway.
Aye.
Councilwoman Viscusi.
Aye.
Councilwoman Viscusi.
Aye.
Councilwoman Braun. Councilman Canella.
Aye.
President Worshner. President Worshner.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, large vehicle ordinance, second reading.
I'm going to take from the table for second reading and discussion of the ordinance which shall establish regulations and restrictions on large vehicles.
Second.
A motion has been made and seconded to take from the table for the second reading and discussion an ordinance which shall establish regulations and restrictions on the operations and parking of large motor vehicles and provide fines and penalties for violations thereof. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Roll call, please.
Excuse me, we have discussion.
There's no discussion on table.
You'll go to the next meeting.
Okay, so I was just going to say,
You're not voting on the ordinance.
right, we're voting on table. I just wanted to clarify that, okay? That's all I wanted.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Nays? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Huffley. Councilman Holloway.
Aye.
Councilwoman Viscusi. Councilman Viscusi. Councilwoman Bromley. Councilman Canella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coder.
Aye.
President Worshner.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, motion for the International Park and Maintenance Code.
I'm going to take from the table for the second reading the 2012 International Property Maintenance Code.
Second.
Okay, motion has been made a motion has been made and seconded to take from the table for the second reading an ordinance which shall establish and enact the 2012 International Property Maintenance Code and provide fines and penalties for violations thereof. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Roll call, please.
Councilman Holloway.
Aye.
Councilwoman Viscusi. Councilman Viscusi. Councilwoman Bromley. Councilman Canella. Councilwoman Coder. Councilwoman Huffley. President Worshner.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, wage ordinance, take from the table, we have a motion.
I'm going to take from the table second reading the wage ordinance for non-union employees of healthcare from 7 to 5%.
Second.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded, take from the table for second reading and discussion of ordinance which shall amend the contribution levels of non-union employees from healthcare from 7% to 5%. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Viscusi. Councilman Viscusi.
Nay.
Councilwoman Bromley. Councilman
we have a second?
Second.
Okay, a motion has been made and seconded to take from the table for the second reading and discussion of ordinance which shall establish and enact the 2012 International Fire Code and provide fines and penalties for violations thereof. All those in favor say aye. Nays? Roll call, please.
Councilman Suzie.
Aye.
Councilwoman Veronica. Councilman Kamala. Councilwoman Turner. Councilwoman Huffley. Councilman Hopwood. Councilwoman Viscusi. President Worship.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next motion?
I have a question. When we're reading these, it says that we're taking them from the table for the second reading and discussion.
Yeah, but the parliamentary procedure is that when you're taking from the table, that you don't, there's no discussion on taking from the table. So I think that's right.
And in the future, I would think these all need to be reworded then, because
I think so too.
they're
I
voting
agree.
to discuss it, but no one's discussing it. It's not even open for discussion.
Right.
I just have a point, because our last solicitor said the reason we do this is that we discuss it twice, and then we vote on it the third time as an ordinance.
You have a discussion before you vote. Like, next time you bring it from the table, it's taking it from the table, and then once you put it on the table to be voted on, we'll have a discussion on it. So the motion is to sort of move it through, and then once you move it through, you take it from the table and you vote on it. That's the parliamentary procedure.
We really need to change this voting procedure. I have mentioned that. And, I mean, we need to, I mean, it's taking on and off the tables, but I don't like to do. What?
I used to like the up-down. You voted for it and you do it, give it a die right there. Or, you know, we waited until we get to the third reading before we make it to die or that or not.
Solicitor, can you give us some examples of what other communities do to vote for their ordinances? I'd really like to see that. Maybe if we can put it on the finance committee agenda so that we can have.
I'll turn it over to be able to compare it to.
Okay. Well, we have a couple ordinances. 808, there's another one, and I can get you those ordinances. That was changed. We've had a number of changes on the voting procedures in the last few years. Jane?
Yeah, there's actually one more ordinance, and it's actually the second reading, because we voted on it the first time.
No, that one never got.
It never got brought up?
No, it did not.
Okay, so this is just introduced, so if you could introduce it.
Yeah, I'm going to introduce the meter parking. For this one, I'll explain a little bit. Right now, they're flying up to $300. The chief wanted to go just down to $25. And this is in part of the white line. They can find up to $300 for parking on that white line. So the chief wanted this revamped. So, and I thought we did it.
Okay, so could you read that so it's introduced?
Yeah, the meter parking ordinance amendment. It is going to be ordinance 9320, section B, reducing the penalties in violation of section 5, and fine $25.
Okay, thank you. Okay, is there any more business?
I just have one reminder that April 20th is the cleanup for Earth Day, and I know 3 people signed up, but also for everybody else. They're expecting about 150 people.
Wonderful.
Where are you meeting at?
At the Y, and there's lunch, there's going to have coffee and donuts in the morning. I believe it's at 9 to 12, and then they have lunch served after.
George, you might be able to help me better with this, but Officer Zapko, who was our police officer for a long time, his wife just died yesterday.
I believe it did.
And so the funeral service is Thursday. You have to check the Thursday all day, I think. And I'm going to do
I
it.
think it's 2 or something like that.
That's what I would say. I'm sorry. Yeah, so you want to check and send them, phone.
Okay, thank you. Any other old business? Any new business? No new business? Before we go to executive session,
have a priority when it comes to using the fields. I think it was a really good point, but I just had an idea or a suggestion that right now there's a lot of new coaches and there's a lot of, you know, maybe some things like, I think it's important that you ask them and require them to put everything on the schedule, but right now, they might not know, and you know, there's a lot going on up there, and like everybody here and up there and everywhere else, it's sometimes hard to remember everything, so I'm just thinking that maybe if you call them to like tell them about this conflict, if you might just want to remind them to like spread the word to all their new coaches or anyone, because this similar things happen up at the school, and you know, when you're flying at 90 miles an hour and everybody's brand new, it's hard to just remember. So I wanted to offer that as a suggestion. And then the other thing I just wanted to say that I'm sure you've all heard about it, but the students at North Theater doing Beauty and the Beast, they had a performance this past Saturday, and they have a performance coming up on Friday and Saturday. It's really great. They worked really hard. It's very technical, musical, and there are a lot of props, a lot of pieces, but if any of you are able to go, it would just be great to see you there. Thanks.
Thank you for informing us. Any other visitors who wish to speak?
Okay. Point one. In case you weren't aware, Pittsburgh is going to be one of the greenest cities in the world. We have the Phipps Conservatory, the PNC skyscraper that's being built, all green. We even have a building on on Union, Soda Construction Headquarters. It's ranked one of the greenest buildings in the world, right on Union. So I think with the bump outs and everything, there's more to consider just bump outs or green trees, but the infrastructure of greenness will help our community, I believe so. And then all of you that help bring that back to the table and try to make that alive. Secondly, let's see. And I don't mean to attack anyone, but I think when we're voting for something of this sort, a person had mentioned that they do not like certain things of the streetscape. Is that them, just you personally, or is it the whole community that you're voicing that for? What was my other point? Oh, and it seems to me that some of you have voted on this streetscape, yet you're still asking questions on how long, how wide, what are the bump outs made of. I just wonder, how did you vote on some of these articles that you're complaining about when it seems you don't know exactly what they are? I'm done.
Okay, thank you. Any other visitors who wish to speak?
I've reported this before.
Oh, could you state your name and address and sign the register?
Is it required?
It is required. It's for our minutes, so they can be proper, and you can properly address the information.
Okay.
And if you could talk a little louder, because some of us.
I'm not a good speaker. I'm not a public speaker.
That's okay. There are just a few of us here.
Okay. I had.
And then your name again?
Pardon?
Your name and address?
Oh, Ron Campana, 25 South Spark.
Okay.
Okay. Since I've been here, which is approximately 4 years, I've had problems, and I've brought them up, and I can't get anyone to do anything. This is costing me a lot. The crimes are outright felonies, theft. I had a vehicle stole. It was brand new. I had paid it off. I proved it. I know who did it. they waited until several weeks ago to tell me they weren't going to do nothing about it.
They're not going to. Mayor, you supervise the police. Do you know anything about this?
I
Can you
don't,
help
but
us?
I'd be more than willing to have a conversation with this gentleman and look into it.
I can prove every word, I can prove. I have it on paper.
Yeah, if you could do that, then the mayor oversees the police department, and he's willing to discuss it with you and see what we can do to help you.
Okay, when this happened, it was in the wintertime. So they endangered my life, they endangered my career. I couldn't get to work. I was afraid of freezing. I was very upset about it, and I still am. $17,500, that's a lot of money.
The mayor is willing to discuss this with you and see if we can come up, if we can help you out. So. Okay, well, thank you so much.
Okay, well, I have a second.
Okay, go ahead, because you're over.
I'm done.
Well, if you can do it very quickly.
Okay. I had a crime. I reported it to you.
Well, that's because of your language on the phone, sir.
I know.
Sir, I do remember you. It was your language on the phone, and yes, I told you I was hanging up on you. I did. Yep.
Did I make one word mistake?
Sir, no, okay, I understand.
Okay, you know what, we can discuss this with him. And we need to have civil discussion, so it would be nice if we can work out things if people, kind of work together. Thank you. No. Any other visitors who wish to speak? Okay, thank you for coming. We are going to go into an executive session, and we will probably have a action whenever we adjourn, whenever we come back. Okay? Someone just has to say so moved. You say so moved? You want to say something? Oh, okay. Do we have a motion to make an offer to candidate A for the DAS position?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. A motion has been made and seconded to make an offer to candidate A for the DAS position. Discussion on the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Nays? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Brown, Councilman Canella, Councilwoman Coder. Aye. Councilwoman Heffley. Councilman Huntley.
Aye.
Councilwoman Viscusi. Councilman Viscusi.
Aye.
President Washington.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, thank you. You know what, there was a letter from a resident. Did anybody mind that I say it now as opposed to new business? Okay, this was a resident concerning a repair on Meade Avenue on February 2013. I'm writing to thank you for the great job the borough men Tom Kelly and Mike Bauer did in repairing Meade Avenue in front of my driveway. The project was done most professionally. They came, worked all day, even though the weather was cold and damp. Without asking, they made sure I had access to my property at all times. This, of course, was very important to me. They dug up the cobblestones and put them back in place so that it was barely noticeable. This is a fading art. Please tell Mr. Kelly and Mr. Bauer, please let Mr. Kelly and Mr. Bauer know that I appreciate their thoughtfulness and difficult physical work. Thank you, Sandra Gillingham. Okay, so I'll give this to you. If you could share this with them, I would appreciate that. Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.